Welcome back to the deep dive. We've sifted through, well, quite a stack of your research and notes on self-improvement.
Yes, and today our mission is all about practicality. We're aiming to build your definitive 20-point self-improvement toolbox.
Exactly. Something designed for daily measurable use. We want to move past the feel-good quotes.
Right, we're cutting through the fluff. We synthesize your sources to pull out 20 specific techniques, not just abstract ideas, but actual things you can do.
Things that build a real roadmap for feeling better, for growing, starting today.
Okay, let's dive in. But
Yeah.
first, we kind of have to talk about this self-improvement paradox, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. That feeling, you get this huge burst of energy, maybe on a Sunday night, ready to completely reinvent your life come Monday morning.
Yeah, and then Tuesday hits,
Mhm.
and suddenly it's not exciting anymore. It feels huge, daunting, and you just freeze up.
That stuck in a rut feeling, it's so common.
It really is. And it often comes from thinking you need some kind of massive 180-degree life change to get unstuck.
But the source material, especially leaning on James Clear's work from Atomic Habits, it offers something quite different, doesn't it? Something smaller.
Radically different, and honestly, much more effective. It's all about the power of the small step.
Right. Not massive upheaval, but committing to improving yourself by just, 1% every day.
Exactly, 1%. It sounds almost trivial, doesn't it? Insignificant.
But it's like compound interest for your habits. The math, when you actually look at it, is, well, it's kind of staggering.
It really is. If you get 1% better each day for a year, you end up, 37 times better?
37 times better. And the flip side is just as powerful, or maybe sobering. Get 1% worse each day.
And you compound yourself basically down to zero. So reinvention isn't this one big light switch moment.
No, it's the result of hundreds of these tiny manageable habits, like maybe just 5 minutes of mindfulness.
Precisely. And that 1% principle, that's the core mindset behind all 20 techniques we're going to lay out.
So our mission today, give you those 20 specific exercises grounded in that philosophy. And we have to start with the absolute foundation. You can't build anything solid on shaky ground.
Which brings us straight to technique #1, the necessity of rest and basic needs.
Maslow's hierarchy, right. Before you can even think about reaching your potential or hitting big goals.
Your basic needs have to be met. Physiological, safety. If you're running on empty, mentally exhausted all the time, forget about growth.
Yeah, you just don't have the bandwidth. You can't be your best version when you're completely overworked and fried.
Exactly. And the sources break down rest really well. It's not just about sleep, though sleep is vital.
Right, there's mental rest, social rest, even sensory rest. Can you unpack those a bit?
Sure. Physical rest is the obvious one. Sleep, recovery. Mental rest. That's about giving your brain a break from taxing tasks, scheduling actual quiet time, letting your mind wander, decompress from decision fatigue.
Okay. And social rest.
That's about managing your energy around people, especially important if you're more introverted. It means consciously taking time away from interactions, even if they're with people you really like, if those interactions drain you.
That makes sense. Scheduling solitude almost.
Sort of, yeah. And the payoff for all this isn't just feeling less tired, it's cognitive. There's research showing this deliberate rest actually increases your brain's capacity.
For things like attention, focus, creativity, the very things you need for self-improvement efforts.
Exactly. So rest isn't lazy. It's bandwidth expansion. If you feel scattered, like you can't focus on a new habit, The issue probably isn't lack of willpower.
It's more likely a rest deficit. You're trying to run complex software on a low battery.
You got it. You need that mental space to even think about applying the other 19 techniques.
Okay, so we've rested, maybe recharged the battery a bit. Let's move into mental stimulation. The sources really hammer home continuous learning. So technique #2 is reading for growth.
Reading is just such a fundamental tool, isn't it? For exploring passions, finding new interests, learning actual skills, low effort, potentially huge reward.
And it's not just about self-help books, right? The sources mention novels, biographies.
Absolutely. The point about novels, I think, is really interesting. Why does reading fiction count as self-improvement?
Good question. What's the thinking there?
Well, it forces you to practice empathy. You immerse yourself in someone else's world, see things from a totally different perspective.
You're walking in their shoes, so to speak.
Exactly. You work through complex emotions, understand motivations you don't share. It develops a wider capacity for connection. It broadens your mental model.
And broader mental models are key for navigating your own life better.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which connects nicely to a technique that works directly on those internal models, using just your own attention. Technique #3.
Gratitude. It sometimes feels a bit soft. But the research suggests it's a core practice for changing your perspective long term.
It's definitely not soft. It's an active intervention. Our brains have this negativity bias, right? We're wired to spot problems.
So we have to consciously train ourselves to notice the good stuff.
Precisely. Rewire the focus. And what's great here is the specific research. One study gave a clear prescription, making it really actionable.
Right. It wasn't just be grateful. It was, what was it, 15 minutes a day?
15 minutes a day, 5 days a week for 6 weeks. That specific practice showed measurable improvements in mental wellness.
That's a smart goal right there. That's the 1% principle in action.
Totally. And the application is simple. Focus on small things. Your pet, coffee, someone's laugh. Writing them down helps solidify it.
So over time, that consistent effort shifts your default setting. The grateful perspective starts to become more automatic.
That's the goal. Okay, so reading expands perspective through content. Gratitude expands it through focus.
Yeah.
What about another cognitive stimulant? Technique #4, learning a new language.
Ooh, that sounds like a big one. But the sources say it's never too late.
Definitely not. And the cognitive kick is huge. Learning a language forces your brain to work in new ways. Memory, structure, problem solving. It's like neuroaerobics.
It forces you to see the world through a different linguistic structure.
Exactly. Different languages carve up the world differently. It literally broadens your perspective. Plus, there are practical benefits too.
Like career opportunities, bilingualism is definitely a plus.
For sure. But even beyond that, just being able to connect with more people globally, that's profound personal growth right there. Less insular thinking.
Okay, that makes sense. Connecting, reducing maybe mental clutter. That brings us to technique #5, meditation and mindfulness.
Yes. The practice of just slowing down that relentless stream of thoughts, so crucial in our always-on world.
And the benefits are backed by research too, right? Improving anxiety, depression, even pain scores.
Yeah, particularly helpful in high-stress times. It's proven for stress reduction. But the self-improvement angle goes deeper than just chilling out.
How so?
It's about self-awareness. When you meditate, you're not trying to stop thoughts. You're learning to observe them without judgment.
Noticing the patterns, the negative loops, the automatic reaction.
Exactly. And once you see the pattern clearly, you're not automatically controlled by it anymore. That's where conscious change begins.
That clarity, it feels like it needs somewhere to go. Which leads us to technique #6, The power of journaling, turning those observations into something more tangible.
Yes, journaling is such a great partner to gratitude and mindfulness. It's like cognitive processing on paper.
But I hear this concern. Sometimes people worry journaling just turns into like a spiral of negativity, just complaining.
That's a fair point. So how do the sources suggest using it for resilience, not just venting?
It's about something called cognitive reappraisal. When you write down an intense feeling or experience, you externalize it. You create a bit of distance.
Ah, okay. So it's not just in your head anymore.
Right. And that distance lets you look at it more objectively, analyze it, reframe it, find the lesson maybe, or see where you could act differently next time.
That makes a lot of sense. Taking the internal chaos and giving it structure on the page gives you a sense of control.
Exactly. And studies show this process improves well-being, reduces distress. Resilience actually increased measurably after just a month or two of consistent journaling.
Wow. So the technique itself.
Key thing is, don't censor yourself, just write freely. If you're stuck, use prompts. 3 things I'm proud of today, or 1 decision I need clarity on. Just get the words flowing.
Okay, good practical advice. So we've done a lot of internal work here. Let's loop back to the physical foundation. Fueling the machine. Technique, #7. Nourishment and mental health.
Yes, the food-mood connection. It's undeniable. What you eat directly impacts how you feel, your energy, your focus.
And the sources keep it practical. This isn't about extreme diets. It's about consistency and variety.
Eating a range of foods, lots of different colors from different food groups, prioritizing fresh, whole foods, that gives you the building blocks for, like, good brain chemistry.
Right, the micronutrients for neurotransmitters. And crucially, the sources acknowledge busy lives. If cooking fresh every day isn't realistic,
Then self-improvement means finding workarounds. Healthy meal kits, maybe finding some healthy catering options, making sure you get good fuel even when time is tight.
good point. And speaking of fuel, the next one is so basic it's almost easy to forget. But the impact is huge. Technique, #8. The surprising power of water.
Hydration, it sounds so simple,
Yeah.
but it's directly linked to mental health.
Seriously linked. Research actually connects drinking plain water to a lower risk of anxiety and depression. It's not just feeling better generally. There's a physiological reason.
Okay, explain that. Why does being even a little dehydrated make us more anxious?
Well, dehydration boosts cortisol, the main stress hormone.
Right.
When you're low on water, blood volume drops, blood pressure can fall. Your body reads that as a stressor. Fight or flight kicks in.
Wow. So even mild dehydration can mess with neurotransmitters and make you feel tense.
Exactly. So getting enough water helps stabilize mood and energy. It makes all the other self-improvement stuff feel less effortful.
So if you're trying to stick with that gratitude journal but feel anxious and drained, maybe check your water bottle first.
Good first step. And rounding out this physical foundation, technique, #9. Integrating movement. We know physical activity is good for us. Feel better, function better, sleep better.
But the big hurdle for so many people is thinking movement means like hardcore gym sessions for hours.
And the 1% approach just dismantles that. The sources stress the lowest possible barrier to entry. It's not about training for a marathon tomorrow.
It's about consistency. Just a simple 10-minute walk every day. Most people can manage that, right?
Absolutely. Or if you're stuck at a desk all day, just commit to getting up and stretching every hour.
Yeah.
Break up that static posture. Fight the energy slump.
Or even try some free online workouts if the gym feels intimidating. The key is the consistency, not necessarily the intensity.
Precisely. So these first 9, rest, reading, gratitude, language, meditation, journaling, nourishment, hydration, movement, they build that essential physical and mental capacity.
They lay the groundwork for the next phase, which is more about Inner work, setting direction, and managing our energy.
Exactly. We've tuned up the internal system. Now let's talk about interacting with the world more effectively. And maybe counterintuitively, we start with giving back. Technique #10, practicing kindness.
Kindness costs nothing, right? But it's described as a powerful way to become a better person and even a form of self-care.
It is. There's a positive feedback loop. Being kind releases those feel-good chemicals, serotonin, dopamine. It actually lowers your own stress.
And it pulls you out of your own head, doesn't it? Makes you more aware of others.
Totally. You start noticing those small opportunities. Someone struggling with bags, holding a door, maybe a colleague who seems down.
So the actionable goal here could be try one random act of kindness each day.
That's a perfect starting point. If you're journaling, technique #6, maybe note how that act made you feel. Reinforce the positive loop.
Okay, so focusing outward with kindness. Now let's focus outward on our environment. Technique #11. The benefits of the outdoors. So important when we spend so much time inside.
Hugely important, and the research here is really specific. One study looked at the immediate effect of just being in nature.
And what did they find?
Just 15 minutes spent in a forest environment significantly decreased negative feelings. Anxiety, fatigue, anger, depression, they all went down.
15 minutes, that's a tiny investment for that kind of return. And the environment mattered, right? Forest versus city.
Big difference. The forest setting was much more effective than walking for the same amount of time in an urban environment. Something about the natural complexity, maybe the quiet.
We need that connection. But what if you don't have easy access to a forest?
Then you hack it. Work on your patio for a bit. Bring plants inside. Open the windows, get some morning sunlight. Even playing nature sounds can help. It's about intentional exposure.
Okay, makes sense. Find ways to bring nature in or get yourself out. So we've stimulated the mind, connected kindly, grounded in nature. Now we need direction. Technique #12. Developing and cracking goals, essential for long-term growth.
Absolutely essential. And they must be written down. Just thinking about them isn't enough.
Why is writing them down so critical?
It creates clarity. It allows you to actually track your progress. It helps you spot barriers before you hit them. And it creates accountability. It's your map.
And this is where the SMART framework comes in, right? To make sure the goals are actually useful.
Yes. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. Setting goals this way drastically increases your chances of actually hitting them.
Because vague goals like I want to be healthier are just useless.
Pretty much. They're not actionable. A SMART goal is concrete. I will walk for 15 minutes, 3 times a week at 7 a.m. before work for the next 4 weeks to improve my morning energy. See the difference?
Totally. Measurable, time-bound. You know exactly if you did it or not. Specificity drives results.
Okay, so you have your clear SMART goal. But then the fear kicks in, that hesitation. Which brings us to technique #13, defining and overcoming fear of failure.
Ah, yes, the big one. Fear stops so many people. But the sources say you have to push through it to build confidence.
It's a cycle, isn't it? Confidence comes from doing hard things, attempting those goals, even if you stumble sometimes.
So how do you tackle the fear itself? What's the technique?
It's about reframing. First, you have to define it. Ask yourself honestly, what's the absolute worst thing that could happen if I try this and fail? Write it down. Get specific.
Stare it in the face.
Exactly. Then, and this is key, balance that fear. Spend just as much time thinking about what happens if I succeed. Often, the potential upside dwarfs the perceived downside of failing.
And failure itself. It's not the end of the world. It's data.
That's the mindset shift. Failure is inevitable sometimes. Use it as fuel for learning. A stepping stone, not a stop sign. Activity for personality development, as the source puts it.
Okay, dealing with fear. Now let's talk about managing energy, that finite resource we need for all this. A two-pronged approach. First, technique #14, limiting activities that drain you.
Right. You need to take an honest look at where your energy goes. Some drains are unavoidable, like work tasks you dislike.
But others, like endless social media scrolling or saying yes to every single invitation, those are often within our control.
And limiting those controllable drains gives you back so much mental energy and improves your sense of self-control. It's about doing less of what doesn't serve you.
The subtraction strategy,
Yeah.
which naturally leads to the other side of the coin. Technique #15, identifying activities that energize you.
Yes. If you know what trains you, you also need to know what fills you up, what genuinely excites or fulfills you.
Could be a hobby, quality time with loved ones, maybe even a challenging work project you actually enjoy.
Exactly. These are your personal motivators. And the strategy here is replacement.
Replacing a drain with an energizer,
Right.
like swapping mindless TV time for 30 minutes playing guitar or working on a passion project.
Precisely. It makes self-care proactive. You schedule the things that fuel you instead of waiting until you're burnt out.
And protecting that fueling time often requires the next technique, which can be really hard for people. Technique #16, asserting boundaries, learning to say no.
Oh, this is a big one. It's so tempting to say yes to everything, isn't it? We want to be helpful, avoid conflict.
But overcommitment is the enemy of focus. If you don't protect your time, you can't work on your priorities. You can't do that energizing activity or pursue that goal.
And boundaries need to be active, conscious decisions. A Saturday morning is your dedicated time for, say, reading or that walk, and someone invites you out.
You have to be able to politely but firmly say, thanks, but that's my protected time. It's not selfish, it's necessary self-management.
It eliminates distractions and prevents resentment later on. Okay, this next one feels like it pulls together a lot of threads. Technique #17, exploring your inner world or inner work. This sounds deep.
It does sound abstract. How do the sources define it in practical terms? What does doing inner work actually look like?
It's the ongoing process of really examining your internal landscape. Your core values, what truly matters to you. Your decision-making patterns, the mental models you use to make sense of the world. It's like a deep audit of your internal operating system.
So, examples. Is this therapy?
It can overlap with therapy, but it's often self-directed too. It might involve things like values clarification, really writing down your non-negotiables like integrity or growth, and then seeing if your actions align.
Or exploring the shadow self, the parts of you maybe you don't like or tend to ignore?
Exactly. Reflective practices, understanding your triggers. It's about deepening self-awareness beyond just noticing a fleeting thought during meditation. It's understanding the why behind your patterns.
And the sources emphasize doing this with support, not just alone in your head.
Yes, very clearly. Inner work is most effective with accountability. A coach, a therapist, a trusted group of friends. Someone to help you reflect and turn those insights into actual changes in behavior. Otherwise, you can just spin your wheels.
Right. Support turns reflection into action. Okay, we've covered foundations, the inner landscape. The last part of the toolbox focuses outward again. Connection and contribution.
We talked about daily kindness. Let's expand that to something more sustained. Technique #18, becoming a volunteer.
Volunteering, it's obviously selfless, builds character, empathy, purpose. But there are personal payoffs too, right?
Absolutely. It pulls you out of your bubble, exposes you to new situations, new people. That's inherently growth promoting.
And you learn tangible skills too.
Definitely. Maybe event planning, communication, teamwork, great skills for life, and often for your resume too. Plus, you meet people who care about the same things you do. It builds community.
Speaking of community, that brings us to technique, #19, nurturing relationships. This is presented as a form of self-care itself.
It absolutely is. Strong, positive relationships are fundamental to a fulfilling life. They teach us so much about giving and receiving support, love, understanding.
But they require deliberate effort, don't they? They don't just happen.
No, you have to prioritize them. The sources list specific actions. Schedule real quality time. Check in regularly with genuine interest. Practice healthy communication, especially when things get tough.
Build intimacy through deeper conversations, not just surface chat. And the hard one for many, asking for help or feedback when you need it.
Yes, relationships are a two-way street. Investing in them builds that crucial safety net for when life throws curveballs, essential for sustained self-improvement.
Okay, one final technique, number 20, and it tackles perhaps the biggest modern challenge to focus and well-being. Technique, #20, the digital detox.
Ah, yes. This needed its own category, separate from just limiting drains, because digital engagement, especially social media and the news cycle, it's uniquely designed to hijack our attention.
That constant flood of information, often low value but high stimulation, it just fragments our focus, doesn't it?
Completely. So the detox isn't about swearing off technology forever, it's about regaining control.
So, practical steps. Deleting apps for a week. Setting screen time limits.
Exactly. Using the phone's own tools to enforce limits. Maybe creating no-screen zones, like the bedroom or dinner table. Small boundaries, consistently applied.
The goal being, reduce the noise.
Reduce the constant background hum of low-value input, so you actually have the mental bandwidth left for techniques 1 through 19. You can't do deep inner work or track goals effectively if you're constantly reacting to notifications.
It brings us right back to the start, doesn't it? That 1% principle. Making a small digital boundary creates space for a small improvement elsewhere.
Precisely. So let's recap. We've built this 20-point toolbox. It covers the physical rest, fuel, movement, the inner world gratitude, mindfulness, journaling, tackling fear, external engagement learning, nature, goals, boundaries, and connection, kindness, relationships, contribution, managing digital input.
It's comprehensive, and the core message seems to be growth requires consistency, pushing just slightly beyond your current comfort zone and applying these techniques regularly.
Exactly. The big takeaway for you, the listener, isn't about trying to do all 20 things tomorrow. It's about understanding that self-improvement comes from how consistently you apply small, focused actions. That 1% principle again.
So pick one or two. Maybe start with technique, #8, hydration, and technique, #9, that 10-minute walk. Do them consistently for a couple of weeks, see what happens.
There's that compound effect for yourselves.
Now, we talked about how internal work meditation, journaling boosts self-awareness, helps you spot bad habits, and external actions, kindness, volunteering, boost awareness of others, helps you practice empathy.
Right.
So here's a final thought for you to mull over this week. If more self-awareness helps you change your own patterns and more other awareness helps you be kinder, how does that deeper, deliberate management with your internal world, that inner work we discussed, how does that fundamentally change your capacity to make a positive impact on the external world?
That's a powerful question. How does deep self-understanding translate into effective contribution? Something to definitely think about. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into your actionable self-improvement toolbox.
We'll catch you next time.